7. The future of U.S. hegemony, decline and transformation. As the world's sole superpower, the United States hegemony has long been sustained by economic strength, military power, technological innovation, and soft power. However, in the face of globalization, multipolarization, and domestic and international challenges, the future of U.S. hegemony is fraught with uncertainty. While the U.S. retains certain advantages, its hegemonic status faces threats from multiple fronts. If it fails to address internal conflicts and external challenges promptly, the likelihood of hegemonic decline or even national disintegration will significantly increase. Internal conflicts undermining strength sever social issues, political polarization. Increasing division between the two major parties leads to legislative inefficiency and challenges in policy execution. Racial tensions, worsening racial discrimination and immigration issues are eroding social trust. Economic inequality. The widening wealth gap, with many middle-class families slipping into poverty, threatens social stability. Inefficient public governance. Frequent government shutdowns and failures in responding to crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic have significantly weakened the U.S.'s international image and internal cohesion. Accelerated multipolarizations of emerging powers. Nations like China and India are rapidly advancing in economic, technological, and diplomatic domains, shifting the global power structure toward multipolarization. Globalization eroding hegemonic monopoly. Globalization has fostered the flow of technology, capital, and information, enabling other nations to challenge U.S. hegemony. For instance, China's dominance in global supply chains, and the European Union's active role in addressing climate change and shaping trade rules are diminishing the U.S.'s traditional advantages. In the context of globalization and multipolarization, the U.S. may find it increasingly difficult to sustain unilateral hegemony. To adapt to the new landscape, the U.S. could consider the following transformation paths: from hegemony to multilateral leadership. Sharing international responsibilities, the U.S. could co-lead global affairs with other major powers such as the European Union, China, and India. This multilateral leadership model could reduce the costs of unilateralism while enhancing the legitimacy and sustainability of global governance. Focusing on cooperation and coordination on global issues such as climate change, terrorism, and public health, the U.S. should abandon its America First unilateralism and actively engage in multilateral cooperation mechanisms through institutions like the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. Shaping new influence through morally reducing interference in other nations. By prioritizing diplomacy centered on cooperation and economic assistance rather than intervention, the U.S. could gradually rebuild global trust. Consequences of failing to address domestic issues. If the U.S. fails to effectively address internal conflicts and challenges posed by globalization, its hegemony could fall into irreversible decline, potentially triggering more severe internal crises. Dual economic and social crisis. Over-reliance on printing money and debt financing could undermine confidence in the U.S. dollar, leading to a global financial crisis. Social fragmentation and violence. Persistent racial conflicts, wealth disparities, and political extremism could escalate social tensions, possibly resulting in civil unrest or even civil war. Collapse of international status. Breakdown of alliances. If the U.S. faces both internal and external difficulties, its allies may turn to other major powers, forming new regional alliances that further weaken U.S. influence. Isolation and marginalization. The U.S. could gradually be marginalized in the international order, losing its dominance in global affairs. Potential risk of national disintegration. Regional secession. Economically advanced regions like California and New York might demand greater autonomy or even seek to break away from the federal system. Collapse of the federal system. The profound economic, cultural, and political differences among the 50 states could destabilize the federal structure, potentially leading to fragmentation. Conclusion. Continuation or end of hegemony? The future trajectory of the United States depends on its ability to address internal conflicts and external challenges in a timely manner. If it continues to neglect domestic issues and overextend its resources abroad, its hegemonic position will inevitably decline. potentially leading to national disintegration and the restructuring of the international order. For the world, the future of the U.S. is not only about its destiny but also profoundly impacts global stability and development. We sincerely hope that world leaders can prioritize the well-being of humanity, collaborate, and foster peace and cooperation to guide humanity toward a fairer and more harmonious future.